Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're exploring something super fascinating and something that I think we all kind of struggle with, right?
Habits.
Oh, habits. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. We're diving deep into the world of habits. You know those things that we do pretty much without even thinking about them,
Right.
almost automatically, like on autopilot.
Yeah. You've heard the stat right. 40% of our day is made up of habits. 40%.
That is a lot.
It's wild, right?
It is.
It really makes you think about it. Like, wow, 40% of my day, I'm not even consciously deciding what to do.
Yeah. Like just imagine that's almost half of our waking hours just completely on autopilot. So it kind of makes you think about what kind of impact are those habits having on us? Especially if we're trying to grow, become better versions of ourselves, reach our goals.
Right. I mean,
Um,
that's really the key question, right? Like, is this autopilot working for us or against us?
it is. It
You could
is.
think of it like you're going on a road trip, right? You want to get somewhere. Okay. And your habits, that's your vehicle.
Hmm.
So are you cruising along in like a super cool sports car that's just getting you there effortlessly?
Yeah.
Or are you stuck in like, some old clunker that's constantly breaking down and holding you back?
I love that analogy. That's great. So let's get specific.
Sure.
What do these vehicles look like in our everyday lives?
Right.
Like, what are some examples of habits, both the good, the sports cars and the bad,
Hmm.
the rusty clunkers, and how are they affecting us in the long run?
All right. Well, let's start with a good one. A real classic sports car habit, exercise, daily exercise.
Exercise, yes.
I mean, it's not just about being physically fit. It releases endorphins that boost your mood,
Right.
improves your sleep,
It does.
sharpens your focus.
Yep.
And over time, this habit, it really can lead to like a cascade of positive changes, not just physically, but mentally too.
Yeah, and I bet it helps to build a sense of accomplishment as well.
Totally.
That can then kind of spill over into other areas of your life. Absolutely.
But let's be honest, we've all got some clunker habits lurking around too,
Yeah.
right? What's an example of one that might be holding us back without us even realizing it?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think a lot of us can probably relate to this one.
Yeah.
Mindless scrolling on social media.
Oh,
It's so easy to get caught up in that endless feed. But, research actually shows that too much screen time can actually increase anxiety, disrupt our sleep, and even contribute to feelings of inadequacy.
it's so true.
It's not about demonizing social media or anything like that.
Right.
It's just about being more mindful
Yeah,
about how we're using it and making sure that it's not kind of taking over our lives.
totally. And that one hits a little close to home for me.
Yeah.
But you're right. Awareness is a good first step.
It is.
So once we've kind of identified some of those clunker habits in our lives, how do we actually start swapping them out for the better ones?
Right.
Like, do we need a complete lifestyle overhaul to really make a difference?
Well, the good news is you don't have to change everything at once.
Okay, good.
The real key is starting small,
Okay.
like really embracing the power of tiny changes.
Hmm.
But you got to be consistent, apply those changes over time.
Gotcha.
And this is where, the science behind habit formation gets really interesting.
Okay.
You see, our brains, they're wired to form habits through repetition.
Mm.
So when we do something over and over again,
Yeah.
our brain's actually creating neural pathways that make that action feel automatic.
Wow.
It's going to take effort at first,
Yeah, for sure.
but eventually the habit becomes almost effortless.
So it's like we're paving a new road in our brains, one little step at a time.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. Can you give us like a real life example? What would that look like in practice?
Sure. Let's say you want to start reading more,
Okay.
but thinking about reading a whole book,
Yeah.
it just feels kind of overwhelming.
I can see that. Yeah.
So instead of setting this huge goal, just commit to reading for 10 minutes every day.
Okay.
That's it. Just 10 minutes. It could be before you go to bed,
Yeah.
maybe on your lunch break.
Right.
Whatever works for you as long as it's consistent.
Right.
It's a small change, but it really adds up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Before you know it, you'll have read a bunch of books in a year without ever feeling overwhelmed.
I love it. Okay, so small changes, consistency. What else should we be thinking about when we're trying to build new habits?
Well, this is where the idea of triggers comes in.
Triggers, okay.
This is like your secret weapon
Oh,
for habit formation.
all right. Tell us more.
Basically, you're going to link your new habit to one you already have.
Okay.
Think about it like you're hitching a ride on
Mhm.
something you're already doing regularly.
Right.
For example, let's say you want to start meditating every day.
Okay.
Instead of just trying to remember it out of nowhere,
Yeah.
make it a rule that you meditate for like 5 minutes right after you brush your teeth in the morning.
Oh, I see.
The brushing becomes the trigger
Hmm.
that reminds you to meditate.
That's brilliant.
Right.
Like a mental shortcut.
Exactly.
But why are these triggers so effective? Like, what's going on in our brains?
Well, the power's in the wiring, right?
Okay.
When we pair a new action with an old habit over and over again,
Yeah.
we're basically strengthening the connections in our brains,
Huh.
the neural pathways associated with that action.
Wow.
It just makes it way easier for our brain to automatically do that new behavior.
That's so cool. So how long does it take?
Hmm.
Like for a habit to really stick? I've heard that 21-day thing. Is that true?
The 21-day rule. It's
Yeah.
kind of an oversimplification.
Okay.
Research actually shows it really depends on the person
Hmm.
and the habit itself,
Right.
how complex it is.
Okay.
Some habits might take a few weeks, some might take months.
It's a journey, not a race.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
But here's something I've been thinking about. What about those times when we run into challenges?
Yeah.
Life happens, things get in the way. How do we stay motivated and on track
Yeah.
when those things inevitably happen?
You're absolutely right. It's not always easy.
No.
You're going to have days when your motivation just disappears.
Yeah.
Obstacles pop up.
Right.
You just don't feel like doing it.
Right.
And that's totally normal.
Okay, good.
You got to be kind to yourself in those moments.
Yeah.
One of the best ways to deal with this is accountability.
Accountability. Okay. So like having a workout buddy.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Share your goals with a friend, family,
Yep.
maybe even an online group. That
Mm.
can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's like you've got someone to check in with,
Right.
celebrate your wins,
Yeah.
and give you encouragement when you feel like giving up.
I've found that having that support system can be really powerful.
It really can.
Yeah, like having a personal cheerleader,
Yeah.
reminding you why you started this whole thing in the first place. But what about those times when even that isn't enough? When we mess up or fall off track completely.
That's where reframing comes in.
Reframing, okay.
Instead of thinking of those setbacks as failures,
Yeah.
try to see them as opportunities to learn.
Mm.
Ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
Right.
How can I avoid doing this again?
I see.
It's all about progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Every time you get back on track, you're making that habit loop stronger.
That's a really good point. It's about embracing the whole journey
It is.
with all the ups and downs
Yeah,
and using those challenges to help us grow.
totally.
Speaking of staying motivated, though,
Yeah.
you mentioned visualization before.
Yeah,
Can you tell us more about that and how it can help us stick to our new habits,
absolutely.
especially during those tough times?
For sure.
Visualization, huh?
Yeah,
It sounds almost too good to be true.
right.
Can we really just, think our way to success?
It might sound kind of mystical, but there's a lot of science behind it, actually.
Really?
Yeah, when we really imagine ourselves doing something,
Mm.
our brains fire neurons in a similar way to actually doing it.
Wow.
It's like creating this mental blueprint
Yeah.
and strengthening the pathways, making it more likely we'll actually do it.
So we're basically giving our brains, a sneak peek of the future we want to create.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
But how do we actually use it? How can we use visualization to build better habits?
Well, one way is to create a really detailed mental picture
Okay.
of yourself doing the habit.
Mhm.
Like imagine waking up early, feeling super energized,
Yeah.
going for a run, no problem.
Right.
Or picture yourself meditating, feeling calm and focused.
Okay.
Really engage all your senses.
Mhm.
Sight, sound, even smell if you can
Oh, wow.
make it as real as possible.
Like a highlight reel of our future selves,
Exactly.
crushing our goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. But sometimes it's hard to stay positive, especially when you're feeling discouraged.
You're right. It's not about ignoring the tough stuff
Right.
or pretending it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Visualization works best when you combine it with action
Mm.
and realistic expectations.
Okay.
It's about using those mental images to reinforce the good behaviors.
Yeah.
Celebrate small wins
Right.
and just stay motivated even when things get hard.
So it's like having this secret weapon
Yeah.
for when our willpower starts to fade.
Mm-hmm.
We can just replay that mental movie
Exactly.
and remind ourselves why we're doing it.
Right.
So as we wrap up our deep dive on habits,
Mm-hmm.
what's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from this?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that personal growth, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's all about trying to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And our habits are how we get there.